It fosters a certain interest in the arts.
We're always interested in having new folks and new ideas, new directors, new actors.
And an interest in classical literature, classical production.
The Drunkard, Steel Magnolias, The Wild Swans of Ireland. These are just a few of the many plays that have been performed at the Victorian Players.
We're a small community theater in Youngstown, Ohio, and the shows that we predominantly do are family-friendly, a lot of comedies.
Nick Mullichak is vice president of the board of directors.
I started here as an actor several years ago, and then recently I branched out and I'm also directing. The shows that we did were Victorian. They were all either written in the Victorian era or they took place in the Victorian era.
Since its start in the early 90s, the theater has branched out to include more contemporary works. It was founded by Dr. Jean Kelty from Youngstown State University.
She received her doctorate in Victorian literature, and she taught Victorian literature and children's literature.
Tom Copeland is a founding member of the theater and on the board of directors.
She bought this theater. We'd already had some performances at the what is now the Rust Belt Theater across the street.
It was set up by a group of YSU English professors and also English students.
I was also present at the very beginning of the Victorian Players, that evening in the basement of Jean Kelty's house with a bunch of people who had no experience, nothing but an idea that we wanted to bring a new kind of theater, family-friendly theater, to Youngstown.
In the Victorian era, it was kind of marked by rigidity in social norms. You know, everybody had their proper place in society. But Victorian era theater, in large part, is sort of the playwrights trying to push against the walls of Victorian society. And so the comedy that you'll find in Victorian shows is often very tongue-in-cheek. It's often it's veiled comedy.
For Black History Month, the Vic featured the one-act play Mason Dixon and Harriet Tubman Visits a Therapist.
You've been to Delaware? To the border. Draw me that man.
It's a first for us. We've never done a Black History Month show. And so I'm so proud that we are one of those theaters that are doing it. So many of the folks who've come in have never been here before. And I really feel that they're going to start coming back.
Their upcoming play, The Sea Lady, is directed by Copeland.
She comes to land arranging to have herself rescued from drowning. And by the time she's in the arms of her rescuer and they notice she has a tail, it's too late to throw her back in. And so they take her inside, where she charms her hostess.
And I'm going to help her.
I play Mrs. Bunting. She is one of the kind of main characters.
My character name is Harry Chatteris. It's a young man who's kind of going through early to midlife crisis.
I love it. I'm a late bloomer. I didn't start out acting when I was young, so I'm into my second childhood.
My mind is completely at sea.
It's sort of a return to our roots. It's more of a Victorian era show. It's kind of like if you imagine the original Little Mermaid, which was very, very dark compared to the Disney.
But Mullichak says community theater is not without its challenges.
It's getting a little more difficult right now. And we are not a handicapped accessible building. Our building is over 120 years old. And that is our biggest push right now, is to try to make this a place where everybody can come. We have a plan in place. We've got the blueprints in place. We've got the contractors ready to go. It's very difficult to come up with funding. This area especially is packed with community theaters. There are, 5 different community theaters within a 5-mile radius of here, and we're all competing for the same clientele.
It's something that Youngstown really thrives on is its art.
Our 16-17 season is a total of 6 regular season shows plus about 4 special events. After The Sea Lady in April, we have Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, which is one of Shakespeare's comedies. And then we close out our season this year with a musical. We're doing Clue, the musical.
The bottom line is that we want people of all ages to come to see our plays, and we want them to feel comfortable in our intimate theater.